Alright, I think we're up, and let's go ahead and get started and let's roll here. Alright, a couple things I wanted to do here today is I kind of wanted to walk through Thinkorswim a little bit and talk about the different numbers, talk about different tools, different systems that you can use, different ways you can organize the screen and that kind of stuff. Let's go break this down one tab at a time, and different useful resources. Okay. Bring up Paint. Let's first start with the account information over on the top left. Okay, so you got account info. There are a few things that need to be defined. You have option buying power. You have forex buying power. Net LIQ and day trades. Cash and sweep vehicle. Okay, so I get the question a lot, Tim, what are all the tools all about? How do they work and that kind of thing? So I thought maybe I'd go through and do a thorough review of Thinkorswim. Many of you out there watching this and listening right now probably use Thinkorswim. And if you don't, it's a good tool. It's up to you. Obviously, it's just if you do use Thinkorswim, I want you to have all access to the best stuff there, obviously, and make sure you know exactly what you're looking at. Option buying power is what it sounds like. It tells you how much money you have to buy options with relative to how much you have to buy stocks with. If we think about that and we think about the difference of what that is, option buying power kind of is simply, it's the money free without margin. So in this example, there's $244,444.50 available to go out there and buy options. Now, if I wanted to buy stock, if you click the little drop down arrow here, it will tell you that stock buying power is 488,889, something like that. So you get those numbers. You'll get those numbers pop up, and so it's money free without margin. Forex buying power is separate because Forex is a different account. Okay, so Forex accounting, FX accounting, is separate. Separate. I can never spell that word. Separate. Now, oh man, now I'm gonna have to go Google it. Google it. Okay, separate. A separate piece. I read that book when I was in high school. It's a good book, actually. Not winning the spelling bee here today. Yeah, there we go. Net liquidation in day trades, is essentially the total value of account. Okay. Cash and sweep vehicle. This is a number that you have to pay attention to if you're doing a lot of trading intraday, every day, that kind of thing. Usually what I tell beginners, and what I'm going to tell you right now, is it probably isn't anything that you need to worry yourself too much about. It is, it's accounting on the back end for Thinkorswim, and it's basically more important for day traders when they want to use cash and whatnot. Now, as we look at the account information screen, there are several things that you need to understand. These different terms aren't necessarily always apparent as to what they are and what they can do and that kind of stuff. Let's go on to, let's see here. Yeah, John Knowles, that's right, and it is a very good book. I actually just saw it up on the bookshelf. I was rearranging some of my stuff. One thing that I tell people is you should go back and read all the books you had to read in high school, junior high, and college, because usually as an adult in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, they apply to you more then than they did when you were 15. A lot of good books out there. All right, let's see here. Let's bring up another one. The next thing I want to talk about in terms of Thinkorswim is going to be these gadgets. Okay, and the different gadgets. So gadgets that I like, that I think are important, okay, one by one. So you can, a couple things you can do. You can detach a gadget, which means you can move it up on a different screen. You can switch gadgets from one to the other. As we look at these, there are several gadgets that I think are pretty nice and pretty important. I think that you can use the calculator. You know, if you don't have a calculator on your desk, that's great. The FX currency map, maybe level 2, who knows. I do like just basics like live news. If you bring the live news up, you can then link it to any of the stocks that you're looking at, and it'll give you the most recent news headlines for that stock. I don't think you need to be playing Minesweeper, as much as that might be fun, or Tetris. But then the next one would be the watch list. Okay, let's go through. I'd say these two are the most important ones for me. You can get a quick quote, you can get that other stuff, but let's go through them one at a time. Okay, so account info is already up on top. You don't need that gadget. Calculator, as you see it, we all know what a calculator is. Dashboard, you can put in a symbol and it will give you a buy or a sell order for 100 shares. Kind of an interface to do an order form. Okay, and keep switching these gadgets. FX currency map. It's kind of a neat thing. As you look at it, it'll tell you which markets are open, which markets are closed, you know, what currency symbols are major, like the US dollar, market closed. This is a relatively new gadget, I believe, in some of the more recent updates in Thinkorswim. Keep looking here, level 2 quotes. If you want to go back on the back end of, say, something like crude oil and see what the bid size and the ask size is for different things. Let's keep switching here. Lines. That's a game you do not need. Live audio, if you want to play something. Okay, let's take a look here. I wonder. Oh, you can get a URL stream from an MP3 source. So if there's a live internet radio station or something like that, well, you could probably get audio to come through here and play through your Thinkorswim. Okay, let's keep going down here. Live news. This is an important one. Okay, they sure did. Okay, here's the live news, and what we notice is that you've got headlines here for whatever you have linked in. So if you have ExxonMobil, we were looking at that one earlier, if you have it automatically linked to the other tools in your account, we'll get to the watch list here in a minute, then it will automatically bring in the news, like for example, whenever you bring up the chart or whatever it is. Thinkorswim kind of attaches through this linking system. You see all the different news here. And you can go to your more recent ones, whatever that might be. Scan through the headlines, by the way, and what you'll notice is, like for example, the time of day, the day of the week. There were 3 news stories that hit ExxonMobil today. Sinopec in talks to acquire Anadarko Petroleum. Apple stock for $5. How fractional investing changes the game. And then we'd click on this one, say if we want to read one of these, and it will bring up the news story. And then you can read about it and that kind of stuff. I do think live news window is very, very helpful. Let's go to the other gadgets here. Switch it again. Market depth. Let's grab Apple. Show you where the bid is on different exchanges. Give you some quick information. That all kinds of stuff here. Message center. So sometimes people don't like to have to go find their messages up here. You could add it in just as a gadget over here to keep it up and running. Okay. Minesweeper, we know what that is. That's just a game. You don't need that. Switch gadget. Quick chart. This isn't going to be a good one in terms of charting, but you can get a quick visual as to what it's doing as you're going through your monitor tab. And let's say you have like your current account positions up. By bringing these up one at a time, let's say we have it based on last price. It'll give you the quick chart. You can change it from daily to 5. You can have that up and running right there. Looks like we could also change the sizing of it just a hair so you can see it better. You can zoom in just like any other chart. Kind of get it set up. LMT. It's on a daily. Maybe you want a 5-minute when you're managing intraday, or even a 15-minute, something like that. Zoom in and see what the activity's doing for the day. That could be very helpful for a lot of people, make your life a lot easier. Quick quote, same kind of thing. Just put in a symbol. It'll tell you what the bid and the ask is and what the last price is. Okay, scratch pad. I think this is where you can do some, print. You can kind of create little notepads and that kind of stuff. Tetris, time and sales. Same thing. You put in a symbol, ExxonMobil. Tell you when the price and size and all that kind of stuff was. Let's switch it. We're almost through all the gadgets. Trader TV, just like it sounds, you could stream CNBC here through the gadget and watch the news as it's happening. Use the news. Most active movers, pre-market movers, extended hours movers. Let's take a look at this one. And that opens us up. MT, Newswire's After Hours Watch, ALXA, SCS, NTI. We can go through and kind of figure out what's going on with that. This looks like an interesting tool here, actually. Stocks that are up or down, stocks that are moving, ETFs that are moving, in the morning when they're moving. It looks like there could be some value in that one. And then last one will be the watch list. Now, this is very important that you learn how to build and use the watch list, okay? Watch lists come in a lot of different forms and fashions. It'll be the last gadget here we talk about. When you click on the drop-down arrow, you can build your own personal list and save them. We'll do that here in just a minute. You can use a public list, okay? For example, double long ETFs or full session options or indices or key leaders, the NASDAQ, even just the NASDAQ 100. These are all of the top 100 stocks in the NASDAQ exchange, the QQQ composition actually, and you could go through and you could use the information one stock at a time and kind of build trades. Now, it's important that we know the linking system. If you want the stocks on a watch list to automatically link into whatever's happening on your trade tab or your analyze tab or your charts, then you need to do that. You have to click this, choose a color. It has to be the same color as the choice you've made here. Now, I want to show you how to build a watch list. First thing you can do is you can create a watch list. Okay, let's say you name it, and we name it IBD 50 or something like that. You can then import symbols, and you can import them from a file. If you have a copy, now it has to be a CSV file, which is what they call comma separated value, is what that stands for. Now, I put a lot of my watch list in Dropbox so I can find them easily. It's in my finished content. I have it called Watchlist. So here's my IBD Top 50 CSV. Okay, if I double click on that and click OK, it then will bring in all of the different symbols that I can use, and then we're good there. Now I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to try a different one. I'm going to create a new watch list. I'm going to call this IBD 50. I'm going to import from file. I'm going to call this one the IBD 50 here. Click OK. There's a good list. Then I click on Save. Now, if you don't have them currently saved as a CSV, if you're in any Excel formatting, okay, like for example, finish content, and say you do get a watch list, and you want to go through this one right here. Okay. So if I can just get all of the symbols and I can copy them to the clipboard, which is my computer just memorizes that, then over here when I create a new watch list, I can call it Matt's Research Request. He wants me to go through and take a look at these. Then when I import, I can import them from the clipboard and then go ahead and add them in. Lots of helpful ways you can do it. Okay, there's a lot of little things that you can do inside these watch list tools. I'll show you some of mine, give you an idea of how I use the watch list tools. I've got some as simple as 10 healthcare stocks, or the bears from iVest. I use that program to run a scan. Might do a bullish watch list, or Canadian dollar cross pairs, or all the stock symbols that have to do with automobile manufacturing. I had that called CARS. Cash flow watch list, covered call watch list, credit spread candidates, dogs of the NASDAQ 100. Those are good valuation PE ratios with a good trend off of a bottom. Usually the dog stocks in January tend to do really well. And I've got some there. High volatility, Euro cross pairs. I have one here that just says Elmer, which was a student of mine, and he wanted me to look at his stocks, so I built a list so I could organize them pretty well. Just little things you can do. Now, if you ever want to delete a watch list, okay, or rename a watch list, you can come down here to where it says delete. And let's say that poor Elmer's going to get cut here. So I delete Elmer's watch list, and now under my watch list, I no longer have that one. Okay. If I want to share a watch list, I could share my Dogs of the Russell here. I can put it on email. I can give it an email, a Facebook, a Twitter. I can put it on MyTrade if you're using the social media app, or I can create a link for sharing. And there, I want to copy that. And then I go out here to Twitter. Let's make sure this is a good one here, by the way. Let's see. What did we do? We did Dogs of the Russell, I believe. Okay, so Dogs of the Russell. These are going to be smaller stocks that you can do some interesting things in. Cummins, Caterpillar, you name it. A bunch of big ones on there. Interesting. Okay, so then what we do here is on Twitter, I'm going to put in that watch list, and then I'm going to hashtag Solon knows, okay, because Solon will know, and then I'll tweet. There we are. See? So now I think you could use that and bring it into your own list, okay? And there we are. So on and so forth. There we go. Lots of little tools you can use. Grabbing these different lists. One of the simplest things is just getting organized with your watch list. Using the news, using the watch list, the other gadgets. There's some other really cool stuff there. I did like the forex map. It looks like they're building new things in there. But even just getting your watch list all organized and set up. One last thing. Solon and so forth. There you go. One last thing with watch list. If you do run a scan in the scan tab and you save it, you can actually save it as a watch list. Okay. So for example, high dollar, high volatility weeklies. Maybe I just want to run, let's reset one here. Sure. And I want to scan in the energy sector. Okay. Actually, let's do materials. And I want to intersect with the S&P 500. So the materials stocks in the S&P 500. And I want to click scan. Well, now here's 27 stocks that are material stocks in the S&P 500. So what I can do now is I can now save that scan. Well, maybe I want to filter it further. Maybe I want to filter it for those who are up today. And let's say the minimum now, because it has to be up today, is 0.01. Got to be up today. No maximum that trade at least million shares in volume. Let's add one more in there that have a minimum volatility of, let's say 18%. And looks like everything does. Let's say 22%. Okay, scan. Now they're only 13. So when I save this one, that's just an example. I save the scan query. I name it SP 500. Okay. Materials up today. I click on save. Now what it will do each and every day when I come into my personal list of the S&P 500 is it will load the ones that fit the criteria. It won't be the same list every day because I did build it through a scan. So S&P 500 materials up today, and you see this little pink kind of icon. That is the stock hacker icon. Is what that is. They're tying that together. If I want to do like this S&P 500 down 2% today, it's very, very handy, very, very helpful. Okay. That's right. That's right. So let's do another one. Okay. So basically, well, actually, we can just look at a bunch. Like I did this S&P 500 down 2%. What I had done at one point, all of these ones these are all different scans, like 10 to 50 covered call with dividend. If I want to load that scan, I'll show you what the filters were. 10 to 50 covered call with a dividend. I made sure it was a $10 to $50 stock with 500,000 shares with a 20% volatility. The beta, put it in the average beta in the market, 0.5 to 1.5, that had a 1% yield or higher. Now, if we run the scan, you'll notice there's 74 stocks on that list. And if we look at this over here, it will show me the 74 stocks on the list. And there's lots of different things I can do from there. Okay, so essentially it's about running a scan, saving it, and then adding it over here. There are a couple of other different things inside the watch list here that are very, very helpful. Kind of want to go through that for just a minute. You can customize this, by the way, and you can bring in any available item or take out any available item that you want. Bid and ask, for example, not everybody thinks they need that in that list. You could take it out. Let's just do it just for kicks. I usually would want to keep it, but let's just take it out. Strength meter is a trend meter. Net change is good. Last tells me what the last price was. Need those kind of things. What if I want the ATR? Add the ATR. Boom. It's right there. Okay. By adding the ATR, it gives me a very quick identification of how quickly it's moving every day, all that kind of stuff. I can add indicator readings. I can get an idea of where. Oh, let's see here. What would be a good one? Where implied volatility is. Let's just add those two and show you. So now I can quickly know, especially for those who have rules based on ATR, I can quickly know what the ATR is. Okay, I can move these columns, and what the implied volatility is. I can scan this based on the overall implied volatility. Now I know these ones are the highest volatilities out of the list. So there's a lot of little things that you can do that makes Thinkorswim easier to use as you're building out the different list. All right, so we've talked about the account info. We've talked about the gadgets, all that kind of stuff. Let's go on to the monitor tab next, and hopefully you guys are getting some value out of this. I just kind of want to go through and show you some basic stuff that I like to use and that kind of thing. Let's walk through, without going down the rabbit hole too much, okay, let's go through and let's identify the different areas of the monitor tab that you are going to need to know. Number one is right up here in the top where it says activity and position. So let me get another paint program open. I sure do like my paint programs. You bet. All right. Okay, this one, and we'll take some screenshots and put this in all right, monitor tab. So things you need: working orders, filled orders, canceled orders, okay, rolling strategies, position statement, okay, folder setup, forex, and some other of the data we have in here I'll walk through as we go. Let's start with the working orders, and let's talk about that. Every column in the working orders can be clicked on and organized by. So for example, I can ask it to only show me the buy sides or sell sides, so I know which ones I'm buying or selling, by quantity, whether it's to open or close. This one's actually a very helpful one right here, because if you're trying to figure out if your fills have happened yet, you can click on to open, and it will show you whether or not you're waiting to open a position or not, and whether or not you need to make an adjustment. For example, I have 100 shares to open on PSX. I've told it to buy, but the stock's all the way down here at 80. I probably set that up a long time ago or in a class or something like that. So what I'm going to do is, since there's no reason to wait on that, now I'm just going to cancel I'm going to right click on it and cancel the entire order. Okay. So just cancel it. Now it's gone. It had been tied to an OCO, so now it'll take that one out as well. Facebook. This one right here I created on the 15th to buy a put option with a limit offset, and we have it waiting on a condition. I click on that little cogwheel up here, and it shows me that that condition is when the option or the stock goes at or below 100. So I know that's a protective order for one of my other trades. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one on there because I'm waiting on that condition. Being the January option, at some point maybe I want to cancel that and reset it, but that's a different question at a different point. Then I've got to close orders, which on PRAA, it looks like I've got a stop loss and a target. $32 is the target. I'm making $208 on the position, waiting for the trade to execute. I would handle that when I go through my daily routine. But your working orders are all up here. One quick thing to remember, let's take, we've been using a bunch of different examples here. Let's find ConocoPhillips. It's on our 10 to 50 covered call list. Go over to the chart. It's in a bearish downtrend. Let's say that we want to build a trade using the February options. 20, let's do 15 delta, and just build a credit spread. And let's ask for 60 cents. Good till canceled. So I want to do this so you can see something real quick. Okay, so when you're in an opening position that you're trying to get filled on, one of the very first things that you can look at is the credit here, 0.60, relative to the mark here, 0.37. So 0.60 relative to 0.37 lets me know that what I'm asking for on the trade is nowhere near what it's actually going for, and so I'm not going to get my fill. And so what I would need to do is watch those relationships as they go. Filled orders, kind of self-explanatory. It shows you what you buy and sell during the day. It's got all my forex trades right in there. A diagonal trade I did on Apple, Delta Airlines, rolling of a covered call option, trade I did on the New Zealand dollar, some crude oil trades I closed down, all that kind of stuff. So it shows you your fills right here. Canceled orders, just what it sounds like. So those are orders that we canceled, that we got rid of, that we no longer wanted. Those would fall off. That's just being measured from day to day. And rolling strategies, don't got anything in there on that. Now, the next section is what we call the position statement itself. Okay, so we're still in activity and positions. We're in the position statement, and let's go through this. Here's the covered call. The covered call folder is something I had created manually. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the entire thing. It's going to be a pain in the rear end, but I'm going to reset the whole workspace to the default so that you can see it the way that you have been used to seeing it when you first log in. Okay, and I might freak out Thinkorswim there. It looks like it's going to try to come back. Thinkorswim. Let's see here. Oh yeah, froze it up pretty good. There we are. Okay, and there we are. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay. See here, Thinkorswim. There we go. Okay, now, couple things. Number one, this group symbols by. Okay. And let me reset the groups as well. This one's good. So a lot of you, when you come into Thinkorswim, what you would see is you would see a position statement like this. Now, because I have many different trades on here, I'm going to have to go through and kind of pinpoint them into different areas. Let me show you my new preferred way of doing this. I used to use the automated group symbols, and I would put in the check marks for the different folders. I don't prefer that anymore, and for a lot of different reasons. It tends to always get stuff in the wrong place. It gets confused. It thinks that it's one thing when just because you rolled it, it's not. I like to have more control than that. What you can do, and do it by strategy, okay, is as you find different trades, you can move them to your own group. Like here's one. This is a futures trade, so I'm going to click on futures and move that contract into futures. Now there's a folder for futures. We'll get to that here in just a minute. Okay. Apple. Apple is a covered call. So I'm going to move this to a group called covered call. And then it will create a folder up there, and there we are. AEP, this is an iron condor. You might say, well, Tim, how do you know? I've been trading 10 years. I can read my statement. You need to get there too. You know, I'm long this put, short that one, short that call, long that call. That's an iron condor. So I move this to a group. Okay, iron condor. Now I'm creating a system. Chicago Merc. Here's one. This one is a leaps trade. I'm going to move this to a group. I'm going to call it a time spread. It's a big family. But that's when I own a longer term option, sold a shorter term one. Conoco we're waiting on. Delta Airlines a covered call. Now once you already have a folder created, you can move it to and just click on covered call. Okay. Click on covered call, and then so on and so forth. You would create groups for every strategy. You can create them for anything you want. Just keep yourself organized. Keep yourself organized. I think that's the important step here when you're going through it step by step at your statement. Whenever things come in, by the way, and you get filled, if it doesn't automatically go where you want it to, for example, if you make a rolling order on something and you come down here and you say, well, there's that one call and it's supposed to be up in covered call, just right click on it, move it to covered call. This is why I like the manual grouping system better in the new Thinkorswim than the automated grouping system, because you have more control over it. Couple of reminders here, like for example, here's Facebook, 1,000 shares, short the call option, also got short call options, got some spreads in here. So like this one would be a whole mess of a bunch of different contracts. So I might move this one to a group and call it multi-legged spreads. Okay, because it's got too many things to it, and that might actually trigger something in my mind to say, hey, go simplify that trade, you know, or go in and try to figure that one out and get it where you need it to be, because maybe the risk graph is too complicated and whatnot. Going through break by break. Now, if you do have an alert, there will be a bell. Okay, like on GoPro, I said, tell me when the mark is at or below 15 bucks. The alert is active. Tells me when I created it, all that kind of stuff. If you have an order, there will be a button right next to it. Like ConocoPhillips, I told them to do a credit spread at 60 cents. This is where I've told them to build it. If I've got a buy order, there will be a button. I can click on it. It will show me what I'm trying to do with PRAA. There's actually a lot of information right inside the statement that will make your life easier. One very, very simple thing is news. Okay, EIX, this little green sign tells me there's a dividend coming up for that stock. So I can find it, I can look it up, CME. I can also look at corporate news like this one here on CL. I don't know why those aren't flashing up. They should, but they're not. And then if there's an earnings report, it will have a little red telephone. Okay, let me find a stock that has earnings coming up in the next little bit. Finviz.com. Finviz.com. Let's run a quick screen. And earnings date. Next 5 days. Earnings on Christmas? All right, over 1 million. So if there's anything, there are 5. Conagra Foods, Calmaine Foods, Micron, Nike. There's Nike. So let's go back in here and see if I got a trade on Nike anywhere. Sometimes I will. This one I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on trade. I'm going to, now because I reset the workspace, I'm going to link it in. I'm feeling like green. Green, you bet. I'm feeling green today. So I'm going to put in NKE right here. Okay. I'm going to make this green. By the way, yeah, it did save my list, so that's good. So I'm going to click on this as current account positions. It will load up everything I'm in. And boom, there we are. So I'm going to build a trade on Nike. Let's check the chart real quick. Nike, it's in an uptrend. It's bullish. It's neutral. It's kind of sitting flat. So I'm going to build a trade using a leap option. Okay, I'm going to go all the way out to January 2017. We'll get to these other tabs here in just a minute. Delta, extrinsic, let's do 10. I'm going to play this 60 delta option. I'm going to buy it. Okay, buy that option. I'm going to sell the February 60 day. Now, we won't make this trade. I'm just building it to show you something. And I'm going to sell the 40 delta here. There's my combo spread. Confirm and send. Push it through. Now let me show you. Inside your statement, where that will come is all the way down here. Now, you'll notice Nike shows you now 3 different bits of data. Okay, it shows you the red telephone. Says we have a split on 12/23. That's coming up here in just a couple of days. It's got earnings on 12/22 after the market, and it's got a conference call. So it gives you all the corporate information that is happening. So if you ever tell somebody, well, I didn't know, you're just not looking. The information is right in front of us. It's also on charts. It's also over here. We just have to know how to interpret it because it is being displayed for us. The monitor tab and the activity positions tab is very, very important. You need to be organized. You need to know what information you need. For example, with covered calls here, I would need more than what is defaulting in for the statement. So I would customize this, add things like net liquidation for a reason. Now it's going to show me the net liquidation value of the options. I might even want to put in a very helpful one is like trade price, okay? And put the trade price in up next to the mark and click OK. And now what I can look at is I can quickly get an idea of what I traded it for and what it's currently worth. So it gives me a quick understanding of where my profits and losses are. JetBlue, Delta Airlines, you name it. So I can kind of assess the information quickly. Okay. Last thing on the activity and positions tab, there's a lot more going through some basics here, is up here on the right where it shows you, okay, and let's see, I got a question here. Would you want to have different columns for different trades, covered calls, as opposed to bull puts? Yep, I would, of course. I would want to have different columns for different strategies based on management. Now, the Iron Condor, I might just put into vertical credits. You know, bull put and bear call. Some people would separate them out. I wouldn't see a personal need to do that because I can quickly identify what I'm in. It just depends on how confusing Thinkorswim is to you. If it's very confusing, make a very specific folder, bull puts or bear calls, and separate them. If you can assess the information quickly and still understand what you're looking at and apply your rules, then maybe you group them into a more general folder, like vertical credit spreads or something like that. Good. All right. One last thing is part of one of my systems is I do quite a bit of beta weighting, okay, where I click on beta weighting and then I'll put in a symbol like SPY. And it's not real easy to locate the information you need until you go to the old layout. So I'll toggle into the old layout, find my total delta and theta and vega and all that kind of stuff, get the information I want for my spreadsheets, and then I'll go back to the new layout and take off the beta weighting when I'm done looking up that information. So if you've ever, seen mentors and coaches and teachers using total account information, that's where it would be, okay? And real quick, just confirming my audio's still working. Art says voice gone. Dean, let me know if it is. You can still hear me. Will somebody let Art know for him to log out and log in? Yeah. So type in and let Art know, okay? Could be Elizabeth out there too, Art and Beth. All right, two of our best students. They've been around in this lab for a long, long time. All right, let's see here. Next step here, the account statement. Okay, we're still in the monitor tab, okay, and we've got account statement here, and it will show us all of the information available. Cash and sweep vehicle, forex cash balance, order history, trade history, equities, so on and so forth. Now, where it says show symbol by, you can put in like AAPL, for example, and instead of 1 day back from today, you can do 7 or 30, or you can even do a custom date range. Maybe you want to look up all the trades you made on Apple Computer from the very first day of the year till now. Now just click off of that. Now, by the way, do you see how this box doesn't just go away? There's no button to click, okay? So you just click off somewhere that you don't need, and it will go back and find that information. Let's see here. Did Apple? I know I have more than this. This was 12/21. Let's look here. Oh, maximum period length is 370 days. See if it will find it. Huh. See if we can look up the whole thing. Oh, there it did. It tried to come in there for a bit. This is all on the 21st. Instead of 354, it might be confusing. Why don't we just do 30? Order history, all the way back into second. Trade history, I'm just getting the 21st here. Let's see, what am I missing? 30 days back from today. 1 day back, let's do 30 days. Might just need a refresh or something. It's not giving me my history here. Don't know why. That's for Nike. Let's take Nike out. Look at the whole thing. Shows me my positions, trade history, order history. It's not right. Yeah, maybe the data's not coming in for me here. There we go. It just took a minute. Okay. There we go. So now you'll see the order history, how it brought in the 103 filled, and it's got all the different ones on the different dates. Yeah, no, it was being slow is all it was. So it had to grab the data. Now here we are. Now I can go back and look up all the information for different ones. Let's say that I want to look up everything that I did over that period for a very specific symbol. Well, then I can put in Facebook, for example, and it will show me all the trades I made, all the orders I did on Facebook. Different custom columns here. Order history is different than trade history. Order is what you created. Trade is what happened. Okay. Equities, options. The equities will show you what you currently own. Once you break down into these other sections, by the way, let's just reset that. Now it doesn't matter what you filtered. This filtering is only for the order and the trade history. Okay. The equities will show you what you currently hold, if you hold equities. The options will currently show you what you've shorted or bought if you hold options. Futures, same thing. Forex, same thing. It's breaking it down by product type. Profits and losses for the year. You can take a look and see what you made money on, what you lost money on, all that kind of stuff. Get an idea of where you're at on everything. Sometimes data is not coming in right here. Interesting. PL difference, margin required, so on and so forth. Forex account summary is different. Your account summary, you can look up information like what your commissions were, your option buying power, things like that. So there's a lot of information that's very helpful inside the account statement. I would definitely recommend you learn how to use it. FX statements specific for Forex. Strategy roller is when you have eligible positions you can roll like through different things. We'll leave that one for another time. Now, lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Obviously, we haven't even left the monitor tab. Okay, Thinkorswim, I mean, the trade tab has all of its own unique information you can customize and build and run that you need to learn how to read. The analyze tab, we can spend a full other hour on, that kind of thing. The scan tab, to really go into the depth we'd need. Obviously, we'd want to talk about the difference between option, hacker, and stock. So we'll leave these for another time. Even the charts, and the other tools. We'll leave this one just as a monitor, gadget, how to set up the folders kind of thing, and hopefully out there that you got some value from it and whatnot.
Get off the sidelines and take control of your financial future at www.tackletrading.com. Get in the game.